Hello, everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. And as you've no doubt surmised, guessed, or even possibly deduced, we are taking a look at the fixes I'm going to propose for the Techie Advanced class from D20 Modern. Now, the Techie's probably bottom of the barrel for the advanced classes out of everything Wizards of the Coast produced for the D20 Modern rule set, whether it's future, past, apocalypse, Red Menace book, all of those things, including the core. I think Techie, if it's not the very worst advanced class, it's at least top three. And it's because it adds so little. You don't get a great attack bonus. You don't get a great reputation bonus, defense bonus. Most of your saves suck. The only good thing you get out of that is the will save, and you get a solid number of skill points per level. On top of the fact that you're probably having a good intelligence. Otherwise, it's probably its biggest selling feature for being able to permanently upgrade anything is Mastercraft, and that's outclassed by a feat that a first level smart hero can grab at the fifth level smart hero can grab. So I mean, it's not looking too good, honestly. But that means that I'd actually have to work hard to make the class worse. Anything I do to it will probably be an improvement. And overall, I think I've actually improved it relatively well. Not like great, and certainly not anything that's been play tested extensively by thousands of people, but something better nonetheless. So let's go ahead and just dive right on into this. To begin with, I've actually left the requirements, the hit dice, class skills, base attack bonus, all the saves, and all of this stuff the same. I don't actually mind this because you're not supposed to be in combat. If you're in combat, things have gone wrong, and that's an opportunity for you to roleplay that oh shit moment when it comes barreling down on top of you as that Minotaur rounds the corner with a minigun in its hands. I mean, that's a great moment for you to panic and go, oh, things have gone catastrophically wrong here. So we'll leave all that the same. This class lives and dies on its class abilities. All the classes do, honestly, for the most part. And to that end, for first level, we give you Mastercraft. The techie gains the Mastercraft feat for free. None of that wait until 5th level and then eventually 10th level to finally max it out, and then only for one skill or the other. And you are able to apply the Mastercraft ability to an item they make or that you make or modify. And the Mastercraft bonus cannot exceed that +3. This bonus stacks with other bonuses that equipment may provide aside from damage. So you can improve a gun's ability to hit and shoot more accurately, but you can't exactly improve its ability to pump out more damage. I mean, there's just not too much you can do specifically with the gun itself. If you wanted to talk about improving the propellant, how the casing might expand, well, not necessarily expand in the chamber it's ejected out, but how the gases and everything are funneled out, might have some ideas or room to talk there, but that's a whole nother story. Level 2, you get technical know-how. The techie gains a +2 competence bonus on computer use, craft, electric, and mechanical, disable device, and repair checks. And this bonus increases at a +4 by the time you hit 7th level. Now, I'm not usually the biggest fan of class abilities that just give a flat bonus to different skills, but in this case, I do think it's applicable, especially when you're talking about advanced classes that only last for 10 levels and are focused on specializing on a particular thing. That and the fact that this gives you a bonus to several skills and it increases to +4, and that competence bonus can stack with equipment bonuses, other class bonuses, and even some miscellaneous bonuses. That's not too shabby and may help you pull through on a particularly clutch moment when you need one of those skill checks to really come through. But then we come down to the 3rd, 6th, and 9th level abilities, and that's your bonus feats. And really, with this list here, all I've done is add in light armor proficiency because arguably avoiding getting hit is more important than hitting back. Not getting hit means you're still alive and the enemy's going to have to keep trying. And maybe, just maybe, having that little bit of armor will help you get away. So being able to maximize the bonus you can get out of throwing an undercover vest on and then a jacket over that can mean the difference between life or death for your character. That, and it just kind of seems to fit right in there, since the creators of this game had given you personal firearms proficiency as well as point blank shots. So I think it fits, I think it works well, and I definitely think it's more useful for your character than some of these other feats in the list there. And then we come around to the level 4 ability, which is Extreme Machine, originally at level 2. And I should add in an addendum here. On Sunday's video, I'd mentioned that Extreme Machine was particularly worthless because whatever bonus you gave a piece of equipment, because the bonus only lasted for a number of minutes equal to your techie level, that by the time you arrived to wherever the action was going to be taking place, the bonus was going to run out. In the midst of the paragraphs, upon rereading when I was editing and making either rewriting or making new class abilities, I'd found that it actually specifically states that the bonus doesn't begin, the time limit that you get the bonus for does not begin to go away until the first time the item's used. So if you modify a firearm using Extreme Machine to do more damage, then it doesn't actually start, the upgrade, the modification doesn't begin to wear out until the first time the gun is fired. Anything else that you modify using Extreme Machine, that all applies there too. That said, it's still not a great ability because by the time that time limit is up, your equipment has a chance to break, and in some cases, depending on how extreme the modifications, it has a pretty damn good chance of breaking and will take a significant amount of time to repair. I don't really like that, especially since the ability makes you take several hours to make modifications to begin with. I think that those should be permanent, or at least semi-permanent, to talk with your DM. But modifications, especially since you're talking about making modifications to machines or to electronic equipment, yes, you can jury rig things, but the repair skill already has rules in place for jury rigging. And I think a class ability, especially for something like the Techie, should allow you to make more solid or at least semi-permanent upgrades. Or at least once the upgrades are worn out, well, then that's just it. They're just worn out. There's no more chance of busting your item than there is normally. So how this works is you spend one action point and make either a craft electronic or craft mechanical check. The Techie can improve a machine's performance at risk of ruining the item and needing to start again. So if you fail on the craft check, depending on how extreme of a change you're trying to make the weapon, you may actually just ruin the item and need to start with something new. And that's where the limiting factor comes in for this ability as I've written it here. The Techie chooses to either improve an item and give an equipment bonus or enhance it in some fashion, like improving an item's range. So in the case of remote control devices or something that generates a signal, you can improve its connection range, or if it's a weapon, improve its range increments, or you can enhance a vehicle's speed or handling. The equipment bonus that you can give will be equal to 1 per 2 Techie levels. So adding in a +1 adds a +3 difficulty, all the way up to a +5, giving a DC 15. Range is improved by up to from 1/4, which is a +5 DC, up to a max of 1/2 for +10 to its DC. Vehicle speed may be improved by 1/4 DC 10, and handling can be improved at the same rate as the equipment bonus. So anytime you're attempting some kind of a stunt or incredible driving maneuver, your handling bonus can count as an equipment bonus for whatever drive checks you're making. Although some classes, depending on the drive skill that you have, that may still not be a problem, but hey, why leave anything to chance? Have your technical friend, have your gearhead buddy make all the modifications they can to your car. It's worth it, believe me. Had too many games where some stunt went wrong and somebody died. But after that, for the 5th level ability, we have Tech Wizard. The Techie may make a knowledge technology check regarding an electronic piece of equipment. The DC depends on how common the item and its software, if any, is. A common item will have a DC 13, uncommon comes in at DC 18, rare is 23, very rare at 28, and custom is 30 plus. Software, if the item is no longer supported, -5 difficulty. If it's just out of date, -2 to the difficulty. Updated, +1 DC. Antivirus software installed, +3 DC. High-end antivirus, +5 DC. Or bleeding edge, +8 DC. Success indicates that the techie is at least familiar with the equipment and/or software and can get the tools they need to disable the software, gaining appropriate bonuses to any disabled device checks, anywhere from a +2 up to a +8. There may be some wiggle room, negotiating room, depending on what you and your DM are able to discuss or what you're able to convince them to let you do. Beating the DC by 5 or more indicates that the techie actually has the tools and/or software necessary on hand and may immediately disable the device. This can be explained by anything from having unrevoked admin access to a few tools or programs that are pre-written that help defeat the electronics or the software. So say your techie actually worked for a software firm and actually had a hand in writing code for the firewall program that's being used to protect a particular sensitive computer on a network in some office building. Well, since they know that program, they have a fairly intimate, familiar knowledge of it, uh, uh, and you figure that out by rolling for this ability using your knowledge technology check. They may still have a program on hand that they had written for getting past a few weak points in the programming, a way to backdoor in through things. That's something that's normally only used by IT. And because it's something normally only used by IT, it's something that could potentially, at least if you're role playing things out, may go unnoticed by staff that are on hand there because it's not some kind of exploit that was accessed. It's not something that may pop up as unauthorized access. It will more than likely come up as authorized access. So, through roleplay and this mechanical benefit here, you can come up with some pretty interesting things. And this is actually a fairly useful ability when you consider how, take a look around. Almost every business has some kind of Wi-Fi access, and not every router is updated with all the software and protection that is needed to keep it secure and safe from hackers, different kinds of folks who might exploit that to gain access to anybody who's tapping into that network. So you get the idea. I think this is definitely a fairly useful ability, and it's flavorful, and it fits right in with what the motif is for the techie. And now, for their 8th level ability, we come to Build Robot. The techie may build advanced robots of various sizes and modify them with numerous advanced components. Mostly, I've left everything as is with this. The biggest thing I did was I condensed and I combined a lot of the craft DCs just into one thing listed here. Diminutive robots get a craft DC of 15, tiny comes in at 12, small at 18, medium at 21, and large at 27. And large is the only thing I added into this list here. The DCs can be modified depending on how you want this particular robot frame to move, whether it's bipedal or his locomotion is all through wheels, and depending on the number of components that you're adding onto it here. As I said, craft DCs apply to mechanical and electrical checks. You use computer use to program it. So whatever skills you're trying to program it with, whether it's computer use, demolitions, craft electric, or mechanical, the programming will have a base DC of 20 with a +1 added for every skill point you're trying to program into the robot. And so you can get a wide variety of ranges of robot frames, abilities, and you can differentiate a lot of different things. You can make a lot of different robots for different needs here. And the only thing I think you could conceivably really add in, at least without getting a little too sci-fi and tapping into the stuff from Future or any of those other particular books, is using drones and the like. You can use drones for a lot of different things. I mean, you go on YouTube and find plenty of videos of people that have modified drones with handguns and can fire handguns from their drones and maintain a good level of stability there. But there's a wide variety of components. I've left most things the same though. I just kind of condensed it down, and so you're not reading quite as many paragraphs of information. I feel like this is all fairly self-explanatory here. But of course, level 10 is where the pièce de résistance comes in for the techie, and this is admin access. Whether through wired or wireless connection or using a robot to actually make that physical connection, once the techie is connected to a network, they may spend an action point and make a disable device check versus the current admin's computer use check, using all applicable bonuses for both. If successful, the techie has total control of a network and access to all devices on it. If the techie succeeds by 15 or more against the current admin will not realize there is a problem. However, if a network is large enough and or partitioned, multiple checks may be required or attempted to access different protected sections. So trying to take over a single network that's in a nightclub building, you only need to roll once. Trying to tap into the extended network of a company in a single multiple story high-rise office building, you might need to make a couple of checks, especially since you have IT, you have R&D, HR, you have the executives. All of these things may be connected through the same network, but they will more than likely have different partitions, different accesses required in order to get into all of it. So you may need to make multiple checks. That said, though, once you're in the network and you have free range to roam on any one particular point, that can still be a great entry into those different points. However, it doesn't come without risk, and that's what I wanted this ability to reflect. You get a great deal of access and information, which is always useful, but if you're going through something massive, sprawling, and extended, well, you run risk going through different sections. You may come up and somebody may notice that there's an unauthorized device or unauthorized access on the network. So, again, there's some role play flavor there, but there's also a great deal of mechanical effectiveness here. This ability allows you to do some pretty significant things. Definitely might lean a little bit more on the Hollywood side of things when it comes to hacking and computers and all of that, but I think it's a little bit balanced out, just a little bit. But let me know what you thought down below. Do you agree with some of these changes? What changes have you made to the techie class, if any? Let me know in the comments down below. Certainly happy to engage in discussion with all of you wonderful folks out there. And if you enjoyed today's video, well then hit the like button. Or if you didn't, still, hell, hit the dislike button and let me know where you think I went wrong here. Or if you have been enjoying videos, well then I've got good news for you. There's going to be a couple more popping up over this way you may enjoy. Or if this hasn't been your first stop here at the Gamer's Den, then why not consider joining us here? Become a regular member. We'd be happy to have you. I mean, certainly if this is your second, third, or dare I say, even fourth video, there must be something dapper, dashing, and charming here keeping you glued to your seats. Or mildly entertaining and awkward and just funny enough for you to laugh at, but not so awkward and as to be off-putting. But, goodness. This is what I get for recording so late, these odd, rambling endings. I'm going to call it here. I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.